My name's Jensen. Well, I discovered ceramics a little bit in high school, but I really found the passion for it here at Kirkwood. So after graduated high school, I came here and got put into ceramics 2, skipping ceramics 1 since I'd already had some experience. So by the end of my first semester, I was mixing clay for the entire department, loading and firing kilns, and really getting my hands into all of the stuff. I never actually planned to major in ceramics. I just kept taking classes, and by the time I got to the University of Iowa, I was a BFA student majoring in ceramics. So ceramics is a highly tactile medium, right? Like you're just in the material, right? Like if you're painting, it's rare that you're painting, unless you're finger painting, that you're really like physically manipulating the paint itself, right? With ceramics, you're really moving the material the entire time. There's all these points at which clay can kind of go wrong. You can take a photograph and reprint it until you get it right, or you can kind of keep manipulating a painting. But with clay, you kind of get one shot. I mean, if something goes wrong in the kiln, well, you just start over and you make a new one. You prepare your clay by wedging it, place it on the wheel, and then all the steps to throw the piece. After you've thrown your piece, if you're happy with it, you let it dry completely, put it into a kiln of about 1800 degrees Fahrenheit, pull it out of the kiln, glaze it, put it back into whatever type of kiln you're going to be firing to. So we oftentimes fire in a gas kiln to high temperatures, so about 2350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you fire it in that environment, cool that, and then your piece is done. So a kiln transforms a piece physically by taking, so clay starts off as all these little tiny particles, right? Much, much smaller than a grain of sand. And physically in the kiln, all of those particles actually get fused back together. So it's like, going from a bunch of little rocks into one fused together piece that you've created. Here at Kirkwood, one of the kilns we fire in is a wood burning kiln. So those are much more prone to environmental factors, right? Because we're outside, they're natural drafts. So if it's a windy day, if it's raining, if our wood is wet, much of the history of ceramics really dates back to the earliest parts of civilization. Like old financial documents, contracts and things were kept on clay tablets. Early money, before it was made out of metal, was made out of clay. So like financial systems were based on clay. A lot of things dealing with ritual, right? Like small figurines, things like that. And then of course, throughout human history, every civilization has used clay for food storage, food preparation. Beginners face, a lot of challenges. There's, just the fact that if they've never worked with clay before, just how to manipulate the material, right? The best tool we have is our hands, and some people I think have more built-in dexterity. If you want to learn how to make a bowl, the best way is to make 20 bowls. When I'm teaching students to throw on the wheel, I often equate that to learning to play the piano. Right? So if you learn to play the piano, your right hand might be doing one thing, your left hand might need to do another thing, but they have to work together and at the same time. So the challenges of working with clay for a beginning student, I think really teaches just perseverance. And that's one of the things we talk about actually on my first day of class, is just the idea of like risk-taking and perseverance. I always loved to see when students come to me and challenge me. So when students come, with like an idea that they're like, hey, I want to do this thing. And maybe it's like bigger or riskier or just like something I'm like, oh, I've never tried that technique before. I really, that's one of the things that really inspires me as an educator, is when those students can challenge me to the point where I'm like, wow, I got to figure that out to help you. So my most and least favorite part about working with ceramics, well, my least favorite part is cleanup. I think that's everybody's least favorite part about working with ceramics. I don't know, all those steps where a piece kind of slowly reveals itself. I think ceramics also kind of symbolizes just this idea of like timelessness, right? What many people think about when they think of ceramics are those functional items, right? Mugs, bowls, vases, things like that. Like for me, I have this little crock that my great-grandma always brought raspberry jello in. To encourage someone to work with clay, I would tell them sometimes it is sometimes both forgiving and unforgiving at the same time. I think you'll learn more technically, and I think it's because of the challenge of working with clay that it keeps people coming back.